Imagine a force of nature so absolute, so swift, that justice is delivered not by courts or kings, but by a blinding flash from the heavens. This is the realm of Amadioha, the Igbo god of thunder. When he speaks, it is not in whispers carried on the wind, but in the earth-shattering clap of thunder that reverberates through the soul. In the lush, vibrant heartland of southeastern Nigeria, the Igbo people know that the sky is not merely a canopy of blue and white. It is the domain of Amadioha, and his presence is undeniable. When the heavens crackle and roar, it is not just a storm passing by. He is the arbiter of truth, the one who strikes without warning. But what happens when deceit and treachery fester in the heart of a community, hidden from the eyes of men? How does a God of justice expose a lie that is woven into the very fabric of a family? The story we are about to tell answers that very question. This is a tale of a hidden crime, a brother's betrayal, and the inescapable wrath of Amadioha that brought a dark secret into the light. Before we delve into this powerful myth, I want to know where you're watching from. And if you're captivated by these ancient stories, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support truly helps us bring more of these tales to life. Now, let us journey into the heart of an Igbo village where the air is thick with tension and the sky watches with an unblinking eye. In a small, bustling village nestled among the rolling green hills of Igboland, lived two brothers, Njoku and Ezenwa. They were as different as the sun and the moon. Njoku, the elder, was strong, hard-working, and respected by all. His hands were calloused from tilling the soil, and his yams were always the largest in the village harvest. He was a man of integrity, his word as solid as an Iroko tree. Ezenwa, the younger brother, was quite the opposite. He coveted his brother's success, his reputation, and the admiration he received from the villagers. While Njoku toiled under the hot sun, Ezenwa would often be found in the shade, his mind plotting ways to gain what he had not earned. The land they farmed had been passed down from their father, and according to tradition, it was to be shared. But the most fertile part of the land, the portion that consistently yielded the most bountiful harvest, belonged to Njoku by right of his birth. This single fact gnawed at Ezenwa's soul. He watched as Njoku's barns overflowed while his own were merely full. He saw the respect in the eyes of the elders when they spoke to Njoku, a respect he felt he was denied. This jealousy festered within him, growing from a small seed of discontent into a poisonous vine that wrapped itself around his heart, choking out all reason and brotherly love. One fateful evening, as the sun bled orange and purple across the horizon, Ezenwa made a decision. He decided he would take the fertile land for himself, not through negotiation or appeal to the elders, but through a dark and terrible act. Under the cloak of a moonless night, when the village was deep in slumber, and the only sounds were the chirping of crickets and the distant hoot of an owl, Ezenwa crept into Njoku's compound. With a heavy heart but a resolute mind, he committed a crime that would stain his hands and soul forever. He silenced his brother, the man who had shared his childhood, and buried him in a shallow, unmarked grave on the very land he so desperately coveted. The next morning, the village awoke to a chilling mystery. Njoku was gone. Ezenwa, putting on a masterful performance of grief and confusion, led the search party. He wailed louder than anyone, his face a mask of sorrow. He told the elders that Njoku must have journeyed to a distant market and fallen prey to bandits or wild animals. The villagers, seeing his apparent distress, believed him. They mourned Njoku, a good man taken too soon, and offered their condolences to the grieving Ezenwa. With Njoku gone, Ezenwa immediately claimed all the family land as his own, including the prized plot. He began to farm it, his hoe turning the soil just above where his brother's body lay. He thought his secret was safe, buried deep in the earth. But he had forgotten one crucial thing. The sky has eyes, and the God of justice, Amadioha, sees all. Weeks turned into months, and a full planting season passed. Ezenwa's farm prospered. The yams from the stolen land grew even larger than they had for Njoku, and his wealth increased. He became a prominent man in the village, his voice carrying weight in the council of elders. He married a beautiful wife and started a family. On the surface, he had everything he had ever wanted, but his prosperity was a hollow shell. At night, he was haunted by nightmares. The rustle of leaves sounded like his brother's last breath. The hoot of an owl felt like an accusation. He lived in a constant state of low-burning fear, always looking over his shoulder, terrified that his secret would be exposed. He made extravagant sacrifices to various deities, hoping to buy their silence, but he dared not make any offerings to Amadioha, for he knew the god of justice could not be bribed. One afternoon, as the harvest season approached, the sky began to change. The brilliant blue was consumed by a dark, angry gray. The air became heavy and still, and a strange silence fell over the village. The birds stopped singing, and the goats huddled together, sensing an unseen threat. The villagers looked up, their faces etched with concern. This was no ordinary rainstorm brewing. This felt different. It felt personal. The first clap of thunder was not distant, but directly overhead, a deafening explosion that seemed to shake the very foundations of their huts. It was not a rumble, it was a roar, the voice of Amadioha. Then, the lightning began. It was not the usual brief flashes that illuminated the clouds. These were brilliant, searing white bolts that struck the earth with terrifying precision. One bolt struck the giant irako tree at the center of the village, splitting it clean in two. Another hit the roof of the shrine of a lesser deity, setting it ablaze. Panic erupted. People ran for cover, screaming in terror. This was not random weather. This was a targeted assault. Amadioha was angry, and his anger was being unleashed upon their village. Amidst the chaos, Ezenwa stood frozen in his compound, his heart pounding in his chest like a war drum. He knew this was for him. The sky was not just angry, it was hunting. As the storm raged, another bolt of lightning, brighter and fiercer than all the rest, struck the ground in the middle of his newly harvested yam barn. The structure exploded in a shower of fire and splintered wood. His entire fortune, the fruits of his stolen land, was turned to ash in an instant. But Amadioha was not finished. The final, most terrifying bolt came next. It did not strike a tree or a building. It struck the ground on the very patch of fertile land Ezenwa had stolen. It hit with the force of a celestial hammer, gouging a deep, smoking crater in the earth. As the terrified villagers cautiously emerged from their homes after the storm subsided, they were drawn to the smoldering hole in Ezenwa's field. There, exposed by the divine power of Amadioha's lightning, were the skeletal remains of a human body. And around the wrist of the skeleton was a distinctive ivory bracelet, one that everyone in the village recognized. It was the bracelet that Njoku had worn every single day of his adult life. A collective gasp went through the crowd. The truth, buried for so long, was now laid bare for all to see. All eyes turned to Ezenwa, who had fallen to his knees, his face pale and his body trembling uncontrollably. The mask of grief and charm he had worn for so long had been burned away by the lightning. In that moment, he was no longer a respected elder but a murderer exposed by a god. He could not deny it. The evidence was irrefutable, unearthed by Amadioha himself. The god of thunder had not just punished the wicked. He had acted as the ultimate detective, revealing the hidden truth that no mortal could find. The elders, their faces grim, pronounced their judgment swiftly. Ezenwa was ostracized, his name cursed for all generations. He had not only killed his brother, but had also brought the wrath of a god upon their entire community. He was banished from the village, forced to wander the earth as an outcast, forever marked by his crime and the divine justice that had exposed him. The story of Ezenwa and the wrath of Amadioha became a legend, a cautionary tale told to children and grandchildren for generations to come. It served as a powerful reminder to the Igbo people that no secret is truly hidden and no crime goes unpunished. You might be able to deceive your family, your friends, and your entire village, but you can never deceive the sky. Amadioha, the god of thunder and lightning, is always watching. His judgment is not a matter of if, but when. He is the divine authority, the swift hand of justice, and the one who strikes without warning. And there you have it, the story of Amadioha's inescapable justice. What did you think of this myth? What about your culture? Do you have a figure for divine justice? Share below. If you love this story, hit that thumbs up and subscribe for more awesome myths. Thanks for being here. Stay curious.